Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a game that was way more than just a win. We're talking about Manchester City's absolute 4-0 demolition of Wolverhampton. So let's get into it. What exactly does the anatomy of a blowout like this really look like?
4-0. I mean, wow. Sometimes the scoreline tells you the entire story, and this is definitely one of those times. This wasn't just a win for Man City, it was a complete tactical dismantling. In a league this tough, a result like this doesn't just happen by accident, right? It's engineered, and today we're going to look at that blueprint.
So, the two teams in the ring, Manchester City and Wolverhampton. We're talking about a clash in the English Premier League, one of the most competitive leagues in the world. And, well, one team put on an absolute clinic, while the other was left with a lot to think about.
All right, first up, a dominant victory. Let's just start by talking about the sheer dominance on display here. I mean, how does a team even pull off such a complete win at this level?
Yeah, this was a Premier League statement. And you've got to remember, this wasn't some preseason friendly. This is the Premier League where every single point is a battle. For a team like City, who were in a super tight title race, this 4-0 win, it wasn't just about the 3 points. No way. It was a message to all their rivals. It was them screaming, hey, look at us. We're hitting our stride at the perfect time.
So, that leads to the next section, the story of the goals. How did we even get to a 4-0 scoreline? A result like this is built piece by piece, goal by goal. So let's trace that story and see exactly how it all went down.
Okay, so the whole thing really started early. Haaland gets that first goal and boom, the deadlock is broken, the tone is set. Then comes the second. It's just a clinical finish, and it starts to expose some real cracks in the defense. Cracks that, believe me, City were going to exploit all day. By the time the lead doubles, you could just feel it. Wolverhampton's spirit was kind of broken. And that final goal, the 4-0 finish, that wasn't just another score. It was the final nail, a ruthless confirmation that City was in total, absolute control. All right, now for Haaland's masterclass. In any huge win like this, there's almost always one player who's the key architect, right? The engine behind the whole thing. And in this game, oh yeah, one performance stood out big time. And that man was, of course, the architect of the win, Erling Haaland. His performance wasn't just good, it was the entire engine of this victory. He was the one who basically took apart the opposition's defense piece by piece.
And check this out. What I find really interesting is how our source material, which is a match summary page, shows this. It doesn't just list the goals, It gives separate, dedicated video links for Haaland's first goal and his second goal. That tells you everything, doesn't it? Right from the jump, in the immediate analysis, his performance was the story.
So that brings us to section 4, the league context. That focus on Haaland is a really cool detail from the source itself, and it's actually worth taking a second to look at that source, Botalat, to kind of understand how this whole story gets framed and sent out to a massive global audience. And this all happens on the Premier League stage. It's this massive global platform where a result like this really echoes. I mean, it's not just for the fans who were in the stadium that day. These games are broadcast and picked up by aggregators all over the world, and they end up shaping the story for the whole season. Okay. So let's move to our last section, what this result means. Let's bring it all home. Beyond the goals, beyond Haaland's incredible day, what's the lasting impact of a 4-0 thumping like this one? Look, a win is a win and it gets you 3 points. But a 4-0 demolition? That's something else entirely. It's more than just 3 points. It's a message. Imagine being one of City's rivals. You're not just watching a competitor get a win. You're watching them look, well, unbeatable. That kind of psychological pressure is huge in a tight title race. It can create cracks, and it forces everyone else to step up their game.
And that leaves us with one big question, right? After a 4-0 win like this, a performance so complete, so dominant, so ruthless, are we just watching a team have a really good day? Or are we watching a champion in the making? I guess we'll have to wait and see.